Hey everybody, Z4 here. It's been a while. How you guys been doing? I'm just here with the new patch dropping to show you what I've been finding with a newer Arachne build. Um, there's been a lot of jumping around with builds, like there was the burst, there was my movement speed build, there was weekend's burst build, more attack speed build, there's always the bruiser build that sometimes works. Yeah, there's a few ways you can go here, but so far with the mid-season patch coming, I found this one way to build Arachne to be the best. Now, one thing you know with Arachne is she pretty much has no team fight or no end game help, unless you can get a good have allies let her flank easier. But that's not always going to be the case. I find right now, especially unless you're really far ahead, the best build I find to do is to focus on like a early game damage, late game survivability. But how do you do that without building too much defense or too little defense, anything like that? Well, I'll show you with one of the new items that came out. So anyway, first of all, jungle. You're going to be starting Assassin's Blessing. If you're doing a solo, you can go Hunter's Blessing. I like that as well. We're just going to assume this is for jungle builds. This build can work also as solo, but you would have to change your items around a bit. So right now we're just going to focus on jungle. So you're going to get Assassin's Blessing, Tier 1 Katana, a pot, and then blink. Then you're gonna do your 9 times out of 10. You're gonna web the blue camp 3 times, go back, then do your normal start. After that, you're gonna be finishing up warrior tabby. You can also go ninja tabby. I kind of like warrior tabby a bit, just so I can keep that extra burst at the beginning. You do sacrifice some movement, some attack speed, and some mana, so you might be backing a bit more than if you're using Ninja Tabby. But Warrior Tabby is good for a bit more early game burst. I'm taking like from weekends I did like, yeah, Arachne early game, she wants to kill people fast. Warrior Tabby lets you do that. After that, you're gonna get to finish Stone Cutting Sword. It makes your movement faster, so you rotate fast, so you can chase faster, all that. Movement speed is still good on her early game. Early to mid game. Until the end game, you don't need as much movement speed, but we'll get to that later. But it lets you shred, get tankier, and also kill people easier, do more damage, all that stuff. You do need to land some autos first, but it does help you, and then you're also letting your hunter hurt a bit more. You're letting your warrior solo laner after that, or hunter mid hurting a bit more. Always good, and making yourself a bit more tanky at the same time. Always good. After that, it's going to depend on what you're fighting. You go 1 or 2 routes. If you find yourself really suffering to the physical jungler, and the solo support, solo physical and a hunter physical, if you're really suffering, like you need more physical damage, I would go Void Shield. It's mainly if you're if you're falling a little bit behind, it's more expensive, but it does help you and your team, which is good. Otherwise, I like Ancile. Gives you a little bit of cooldown, a little more power than the other one. It gives you some magical defense, while Stone Coating is giving you physical defense, basically. But it lets you gank mid a bit easier, especially, and if you're against magical junglers, it's really good as well. And that passive it has lets you, like I said, not just gank because of you're more tanky, but it's letting you catch the mid a bit more off guard. They can't beads, they can't dash right away if they try to attack you, and to do magical damage to you, silence them, and it lets you kill them. Always good. And one thing that is fun is that 1 second silence. It's 1 second silence, right? Yeah, 1 second will help will also work with your next ability here. It's only 1 second, but it's a bit nice. Runeforge Hammer is going to be your next item. I did mention this in the past, how Runeforge item is a fun item to do. I just wasn't always able to fit it in my other builds. Like the movement speed build, you can't really put it anywhere unless you take something else out. Definitely a possibility. And by the way, the movement speed build is still a viable and fun build. I'm just not using it as much, but it's still a good build if you want to use it. But anyway, Runeforge Hammer, how this item works is as enemies that take 15% increased damage from you if they are affected by any crowd control. It does not include knockbacks, blinds, and grabs. So you can use this. Most people can't really use it because most people have like maybe a second of CC or whatnot. But Arachne has a lot of CC for an assassin. She has, at max rank, her spiders give a 6 second slow. That's 6 seconds of increased damage. And then you stuns them for 1.4 seconds. That's 1.4 seconds of extra damage from your bite, from your spiders, from yourself, from kin size when you build that, all that stuff. 6 seconds is a lot of time. And another reason why I'm trying to fit this into the build is the item I mentioned before. I mean, not to mention, but I said you want to be more tanky by the end game. And here's where that's going to start to come in. Now, when you build this one item depends on where you are and what you're doing. Are you in the team fight phase? Are you fighting people a lot? Are you noticing people are now starting to hurt you a bit faster than you can hurt them? And you're dying a bit more, you're getting too low to keep the fight going, and there's a lot of team fights, that sort of thing. If there's a lot of team fights and you need to stay in a fight longer, that's when you would get Lono's Mask. Lono's Mask is a new item. Increases your health, gives you 35 of each protection. Not bad. It's a nice chunk of health. Not nice chunk of protections. It's nice. But the passive is where it is. You take 25% less damage from all sources. So even with just this item, you become a really, really tanky boy. Runeforge giving you a ton of HP as well, 250. You're getting about 450 HP from this item with 35 protections on each, and the 25 damage mitigation is really good. 25% damage mitigation is really good. You do lose 20% damage. So normally you would think, oh, that's bad. You don't want Arachne doing less damage. She does nothing then. But remember Runeforge. For 6 seconds, you're doing 15% extra damage when you have someone slowed in your web. With this, takes away 20%. So you're effectively losing about 5%, though I think the math in Smite is a little weird, so it's not exactly 5%. You're doing maybe between 5 and 8% less damage only. And that's still, Arachne will still be doing quite a bit of damage because of that. You might be only doing a little less damage, but your passive gets stronger when they're at lower health. 1.5 physical damage extra. That also counters out Lono's Mask. If you're attacking lower targets, you'll still really shred them pretty well. Plus, your hold on. Sorry. Plus, I've noticed with the mat, you're still chunking people. Not as fast as before you buy these Lono's Mask, but you're still doing decent amount of damage. You can stick to people, fight, duke it out. And then, because of this, you take so much less damage. I can't tell you how many times I'm getting swarmed and I'm getting 5-man rotations and they're all throwing their abilities at me. And I watch my health bars going slowly down. And then once I get like to about a quarter, like maybe a third to a quarter, I just ult out and go away or just walk away. Heal up. That's the other funny thing. Lono's Mask does not affect healing received. So while your bite might be doing less damage, you're still taking healing the same amount of damage. So you get still a massive heal off while you still have a great heal and you have all this mitigation and stuff. I can't tell you with how much with just this build. Well, a few more items out, 2 more items after this. I get close to or surpass the tank in mitigation, thanks to just with this item. It's pretty great. And then this the 20% CCR is also good in terms of you're CC'd less because Arachne does not like to get CC'd at all, and that's always good. After that, you have a few options. I personally like building king size.
This will be killer.
You're able to still shred. You're getting that percent. You're doing a little less if you don't have them slowed, but you're doing almost the same if they are slowed or any other CC. So you're able to still chunk. You're able to still do your damage that you want to do as Arachne. Now, after this, you have a few options. You can keep the build as this if you want. If you want a nice movement speed, nice amount of movement speed, nice amount of power, nice amount of protections. But if you find that you need to be a bit more frontline and you're in the middle of a fight a lot more, and you want to be a little bit more tanky, you sell your boots for Masamune.
This will be killer.
Right now, I have basically you gain 10 power, but you lose a little bit of movement speed. So I'm only at 450 without speed. At this point, you want to make sure this is at the team fight level. You don't want to sell your boots until you're at the late game team fight when you're not going to be trying to catch people in the jungle by themselves and chasing them down too much. You're going to be relying on just walking up front, coming from behind. That's surprise walking up to them, not running up to them as you're used to. But watch as my health. Right now I have 108 physical defense and 133 magical defense. Let's go into a fight with all like a 5-man team fight with Odin's. Well, let's see, in the middle of a fight. So right now you got 143 physical defenses and 168 magical defenses, while still having 20% damage 20% less damage taken. So you're still hurting them pretty hard. I mean, you're going to be taking a lot less damage. And look how much damage right now you're doing. This is without any slow. 13 from kin size. 121, 121 from the 2 half hits, and 142 with the 1. Now with spiders. 13. Well, actually, I think that person pretty much has no defenses. So let's get someone that will actually have defenses at this point. $130, you're doing, well, 41. This is without the slow. You're doing, without the slow, you're doing 36 with each of your kins. 165 with your full autos. And 83 with the half hit auto. This goes to 95 to 90 with 41 from each kin. Plus your spiders are doing 41. You're doing a decent amount of extra damage to tanky targets. It's a decent increase. You'll do a lot more to squishy targets, so that's always still going to be your focus. But you can still do damage. And then this is where I would usually stop my build. This is good, all good. But if you find you're absolutely, if this is going really late into the late game, and you find that, hey, I am tanky, but I need to be tankier. They have a lot of CC. I want to make sure I can be the really front line that just keeps wailing on people, still doing a decent amount of damage, but just keeps hitting people and just being the most annoying spider in the game. You can sell your defensive item here.
That'll toughen me up.
Now, watch your damage go up in the middle. This is only going to be if you're at the really late game, and then you can buy, you know, a potion of power, things like that to make up for it. But look how much tanky you are right now. And then if you get CC'd, if you get CC'd with this, you have basically you have 40% crowd control to do reduction. So you're CC'd for very little. But when you are CC'd, you're getting an extra 15% damage mitigation for 3 seconds. So you're right now getting 35% damage mitigation when you're CC'd for 3 seconds. So you can be the most annoying spider in the world, just walking up to them, just attacking, ignoring everything else, just walking at your target. Everyone just turns on you to try to stop you, but you're taking so little damage that you can almost ignore it. Again, you really only want to do this if you're really far, if you're really late in the late game. You don't mind sacrificing more damage. You just want to be more of a frontline tank and be a really annoying spider. This is a good way to end the build. End your attack, your thing fully. Other than that, I would say otherwise I would say you would keep either Ancile or the other option I forgot to mention. If you're fighting a very healing focused team and you notice you just absolutely need more healing, you can't not have healing. You could actually have not replaced keep your boots.
This will be killer.
And then well, it would be more you would have kept this, and then you would sell boots for Toxic Blade. You're not as tanky, but you can now. You're still alright fast. You're not as tanky as with Masamune, but you at least have a bit more pen for structure damage, and you also can work on anti-healing if that is needed. And Toxic Blade got buffed, so you're gonna be really swinging with you'll be able to really swing and also, sorry about that, and also get that anti-healing off. And because you're so tanky in the front line, you're able to just constantly get that anti-healing off pretty effectively. Because how long does the Toxic Blades? 8 seconds. So you can, you can just do a bit, and it's 20% reduced for 2 times. So you can, like in the middle of a team fight, just go. And now just keep walking around, ordering them, ignoring them. And they'll just keep their that's 40% anti-healing, and usually someone else would be also buying like Divine Ruin. I think the mid would buy Divine Ruin, sometimes the support will get Pestilence, but since you're in the middle constantly doing autos, you can do a nice chunk of anti-healing to the entire team, while still being decently tanky and ignoring most damage that comes your way. Quite good that is. And then the last active would be Beads or Aegis, usually 9 times out of 10. Rarely Abrasive in doing, but 9 times out of 10, Beads or Aegis, depending on what you're fighting. And that's the build. A bruisery build that only really has 2 items that are bruisery. Your Runeforge, which is kind of bruisery, and Lona's Mask. And I guess and this one. I guess this is more tanky. This is more damage, that's more bruisery. And then you would have another. But yeah, this build is like a early game damage, late game bruiser. And so I think that's what works best with her. Early game, Arachne could take advantage of her high damage early, high kill potential, all that stuff. And late game with this, once you buy Runeforge and Lonos, you transition well to the late game team fights, being able to just be in the middle of a fight, constantly poking people, constantly being a nuisance, something like that. You're not 100 to 0 people like with Weaken's build. You know, that pure burst, you just walk in, blink in, bite, ult out. You get a lot of damage off that way instantly. But that's a very risk. If you blink in and they just turn on you, you'll die. This way, you can blink in, start attacking, they turn on you, you won't die. Not for, you'll be able to fight for a good amount of time, like maybe 5-10 seconds fully, unless it's like they unload all the ults on you, and you'll still live, usually, and then you just ult out yourself, and then boom, they wasted all their abilities on a spider. And the rest of the team just walks in and clears his house. That's what I think is one of the best things she can do right now with this build. Just make people focus her blast abilities on her, and she just takes it. Because people forget, people don't realize that Arachne's just taking it and healing up most of the damage because of her 1. And she's still doing a decent amount of damage. And then so they blast it all on Arachne, thinking, oh, if we blast her, then it's 4v5 and we don't need that many abilities to beat the rest. But nope, you're still alive. The rest of the team walks in, starts attacking, you drop down, you continue to fight, things like that. Definitely a good build. I like it a lot. This build is quite fun to use, and I've been getting some really good win rates and stuff with it. Yeah, there's been your on time again with the patch. There's been DCs, and you get your bad games. But even with the bad games that I might lose, I'm still pretty much with like really high damage really high damage mitigation, all that stuff. Before I go, I'll mention one thing. I mean, yeah, I have these items here, but I don't really buy them too much. I mean, they're here because if you are going for more fun with Bumbas, that's a fun build. It's not that great, but it's really fun being super fast. And then I would buy these as well and just go zippity zoom. I'm a super fast spider. No one can catch me. Boom, you can't do anything. It's fun. It's an arena. If you're doing Arachne in arena, I would say Bumbas is great on her because she can just zoom in, get a kill, zoom out, constantly healing, constantly doing all that stuff. It's a hell of a lot of fun. For solo, I did mention I was going to mention solo reign. The only difference here would be you're buying Assassin's Hunter's Blessing. I like that more than Warrior's Blessing because this gives you a lot more MP5 constantly. You don't have to worry about about healing because you have your 1. This gives you more constant MP5, so you're able to use your 1 more often. You're also poking a lot harder, which you're going to be your focus on Arachne solo early game is not to out clear, but to push, and that lets you push the person out really well, and then you can just start slowly snowballing from there. Otherwise, I still like getting Stone Cutting Sword first, though. Well, no, I wouldn't get Stone Cutting Sword first, actually. You would get either Ancile level 1. Let me just do this quickly. Quickly, AJ, you're not going quickly. Sadly, you can't sell all items at once. And I wouldn't get Blink, I would probably get Teleport. So you can get back that. And then either Buckler if you're going against a magical, like a Mage or Guardian. Or Void Shield, a Round Shield if you're going against a physical, like a Hunter or Warrior. This works well. You might be selling this late game for... You'll most likely be... If you get this item, or even if you get Ancile, you might sell it, but I'll digress. I'll just assume you go... Arachne's best at countering magical mages in the solo lane. She's like the best counter to any mage solo laner and assassin solo laner, so most of the time you're going to be getting... If you're going against a mage or a guardian, you'll be getting Enchanted Buckler. Otherwise, start building your Void Shield. So we're just going to say we went this because we're going against a mage. Then you would get your boots, Warrior Tablet, then you would finish that, then you would get Stone Cutting because you want to shred a bit more, and you want to just, you just want to shred a bit more and do more damage. Then you would get your Rune Forge, then you get your Lonos, then you would sell this for kitten size so you do some more damage. Then I would definitely be selling Warrior Tabby for Mass Immunity because you're going to be focusing in the middle. And then I would usually sell Ancile for Spirit Robe because that's the solo lane. You're going to be more focused on being a frontliner, and this would make you the most frontliney in the game. Well, a really frontliney spider that would takes no shits. Just walks up, damage. I'm soaking up all the damage. You can't hurt me. Blah blah. Very fun. Especially solo lane gods, that is causing you to sell 3 items late game, and that's not always the easiest thing to do, I admit. But it's usually worth it if you get to that point where you have when you can sell your NC lay or your void shield, sell it for spirit robe. You just become a great frontline tank Arachne there, since you most likely will be meant to be the frontliner if you go solo in Arachne. And that's pretty. And then probably would get blink after. I would get teleport first, but otherwise you can get blink after teleport, just so you can jump in and be the instant frontlining people, things like that. Very fun. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any comments or questions, just leave them below. And I hope you guys learned something. Anyway, I will catch you all next time. Hopefully I'll get some gameplay videos out eventually. Anyway, hope you enjoyed yourself, and take care. Bye-bye.